Greetings, ghoul fiends. 'Tis I, Ash.
And I'm Jordan.
And today we are here to talk about Black History Month. Well, sort of.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, we're not going to be the ones talking.
No.
No, we are going
No.
to elevate the voice of a fellow Darkcaster, Jasmine from Hands Off My Pod.
Yeah, we are.
If you haven't listened to Ash Asks, which is on the Darkcast Network's Darkcast Spotlight, you can check them out anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just look up Darkcast Network. Um, Once a month, there is a segment called Ash Asks where I interview people who are fellow podcasters on the network, and Jasmine is one of them.
Where Ash asks some shit.
I ask you some shit.
That's really hard to
right.
say. Ash asks some shit. Say that 4 times fast.
So, Black History Month, yeah, man. February, it is the shortest month out of the year. It's only 28 days. They should make Black History Month like Black History Season.
Yeah, we could do a whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to separate it into just a month, the entire year round.
Yeah, Jasmine is going to kind of be taking over the episode from here on out. We're going to play a little bit from my interview on Ash Asks here. And that's going to give you a little bit of insight into who she is, what she does, all that good stuff. And then we are going to play an episode for you from the Darkcast Vault. Give her a listen. If you really love Jasmine, you can give her 5 stars, follow her, all that good stuff. She's really awesome because, she's on a mission, yo. She is trying to help the marginalized communities who are missing find justice, find their way home.
Shining a light on people who aren't being looked for.
It's really important work, and Jasmine is going to tell you all about it. We are going to kind of be a little quieter this week to elevate the community a little bit more. Jordan and I will be back next week.
Yeah, we will.
Yay!
With more of our regular bullshit. But this week, we're going to be serious.
We're going to be serious this week. Yeah, this week we're going to be serious. We're going to hand the microphone over to our friend Jasmine, and we will catch you on the flippity flip.
On the flippity flip. Flippity floppity flip.
See you guys next week on Creepytapas. Ba-ba-da-ba-da.
We'll see you then.
Bye, friends.
Bye for now.
Bye. Hey there, everyone. I'm Ash, co-host of Creepytapas, purveyor of all things spooky ooky and creepy crawly. I'm here today with Jasmine Castillo, host of Hands Off My Podcast. Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Ash. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Now, I love your podcast. I really enjoyed listening to it in preparation to talk to you.
Thank you.
And one thing that really strikes me about you is you have this really bright and optimistic kind of personality, but you deal with such a rough subject matter. So, what inspired you to start doing that?
Oh my gosh, that's good. Thank you, Ash, for the question. It kind of started as when I was a young child myself, and one of the stories that are in the episodes is pertaining to my childhood. So, just a little tidbit on that. I myself is a sexual assault survivor, and I noticed a lot in the era where I was, the poverty, the marginalized community that I was in, being a person of color, also being interracial. It was pretty tough for me, and no one was safe, no matter what age, no matter what gender. But specifically where I was residing, it was high percentage of drugs and prostitution and violence. And I unfortunately had a piece of that as part of my childhood. It was considered like a healing journey for me in regards to how I wanted to start this podcast. Even though that was 30 something years ago, I'm still struggling with it. And I've noticed a pattern in the podcast industry, specifically with true crime, that there isn't much talk about the awareness of people of color, of the missing and murdered Indigenous and African American and the Hispanic Latinx community. And I'm pretty much all of that mixed in one. And I said, why don't I give back? I have that voice. I previously started as a voiceover artist, and I work with other companies who do advertisements for their company. Why can't I use that for a benefit to the community myself? So that's how I started kind of like rolling into the idea of creating a podcast. Previously, I had another podcast that I was working on, and it was coming at the end of it. It was for promotion of small businesses, entrepreneurs, etc. And I said I loved doing that, but I felt like there was something else. So as of last year of May 2021, I'm sorry, May 2022, that's when I began. And I started right around because I wanted to make sure that I started specifically on an awareness month, which was the month of May. And that was for the Indigenous Heritage Month. And I wanted to talk specifically that because that community themselves was never talked about. And if there is, it's probably about 2 or 3 other podcasters that are doing it specifically on that. And I follow them. And me being an advocate, even though I myself, I'm not aware if I am fully or partially Indigenous, but I know that they are considered my family because we're all struggling in the same situation. Our voices are not being heard. We haven't, all the hundreds of years that we are struggling to find equality, being seen as human in society, been a struggle for all of us. So I thought as a whole, I wanted to kind of vocalize and amplify that. So
That's beautiful. You've really sort of skillfully crafted each sentence. I can tell there's weight and there's reverence that you give every single person who's missing. And I was really struck by this recent interview you did with Debbie Corville. She is, at least as of this recording, searching for her missing daughter. I just loved how you were able to make a woman who's talking to you about such an unspeakable tragedy, personal tragedy, and you were able to create this air of like comfort, and she opened up to you, and she was able to, I think, better serve the search for her daughter with being able to be open like that. How do you initiate that conversation? How do you do that magic that you do?
Oh my gosh. I guess it is considered some type of wand that but in reality, I guess it's because I identify before the conversation with a family who is talking about a lost loved one. I give them the reassurance that this is a safe space. Anything that we talk about is in your control. One of the other things that I do as well is that I provide them the edited podcast prior to
Wow, that's
releasing
awesome.
out
Yeah.
to the urgency that they are looking for in regards talking about their lost loved one. I want to make sure that it comes across as that I want that emotion. I want the connection that we're all human and that this is not just a, Joe Schmo situation. We all had lives prior to being posted on an article maybe having a 5-second piece in a news media. I really wanted to have them have the floor because this is to them. I said, this is your podcast. Don't make it look as if because my name is on it, because I'm the one that's hosting it and I do all the editing and so forth. And I literally go from start to finish. I am the intro, the editing, the outro, the music, the whole spiel.
Wow.
And I said, even though I do all of that, this is you. This is your time to take the megaphone and to shout to the mountaintops what is really in your heart, because this is your voice and I wanted to amplify that, and you have reins on what you'd like to talk about. So they feel more comfortable saying, they think that there's times, and I get it, because you don't want to come in and approach them and say, well, this is what I want you to say. I'm going to ask you these questions, but I want you to say this. And I'm thinking that's not the proper way of approaching someone who is the first step. I know I'm kind of going back, but the first step is that there's a lot of families who have a process of grieving. And then there's also a step where they say, fuck it, this is what I want. No one's hearing me. My child, my family member is lost. My child, my family member has been murdered. There's no justice. And it's pretty much like, fuck you. I'm not going to have my voice no longer silent, because that's what society, that's what social media, that's what the media is trying to do towards a person of color, a marginalized community. So that's how I started off, because then they feel more comfortable. They don't feel like it's all scripted. I also provide them questions in advance, and I tell them, I say, let me know what you'd like to talk about. If there's some things pertaining to a case that's active, that's currently being investigated, it's all on your preference on how, if you want to answer these questions or not. This is all you. So they feel more comfortable.
As a survivor of trauma, I'm hearing that it affects the way that you view these cases. Have you had any revelations happen? Some information came up that you weren't aware of or that you weren't able to find that maybe helped an investigation?
I am actually with a crowdsourcing community.
Very
Um,
cool.
I'm gonna put them
Plug
on,
it, plug it.
I'm gonna plug names here. Um, Uncovered.com is a crowdsourcing community, and they're like digital investigators. They search down cases that have been, I believe it has to be more than 6 months old case. The cool thing about it is that family members who have a detail of information, who have been doing their own sleuthing and own investigations on, because no one else is doing it. The law enforcement is pretty much just, put it to the wayside. And
What do you think causes that dismissal of a human?
there's a lot of, I've noticed a lot of patterns. It has to do with trying to put a label on the missing or murdered person. For example, the excuses that they will tell to their family who are in dire need of investigating from the law enforcement to do their due diligence in finding their lost loved one. And it kind of comes down to the same old excuse or pattern. And I think we've probably heard it many times. Well, I've heard it. Oh, they're going out, they're partying, they'll be back tomorrow. Or maybe because, or it could be as if the family is explaining to the law enforcement about their background of that person, and they're saying, oh, they have a high risk lifestyle. They shouldn't have gotten into that. So it's, to us, it's just a waste of time. The queer community was considered a high risk lifestyle. And that was also the reason why I added the, LGBTQ into my podcast, because they're also overlooked. It's almost like they became, in regards to the episode about Crystal Turner, her family member was never reached out by law enforcement. They never got any information from that side of the story. They were in Moab, Utah. They were just recently married couple, two women who were just kind of like living that free lifestyle, and no one really kind of batted an eye in regards to, oh, the dialect that they would, oh, lesbos, who cares about those people. They have their own pocket in the marginalized community. I consider them, a piece of the people of color community, because they're treated as such, like the 1/3 of a human kind of scenario.
You're deserving of that negative energy. You're deserving of that hate.
Exactly.
And you're like, for why?
Exactly.
Try to keep an
You
open mind because I
deserved it.
recognize my
Yeah.
station of privilege, even though I'm a member of a marginalized community, being queer, being trans. We do have that solidarity, and I'm so grateful that like different marginalized groups can come together in these fights to bring light to the people who deserve the attention. I think it's really important that podcasts like yours are allowed big, huge platforms, right? With like millions of listeners, because
Right?
that's what it deserves. Millions of people need to tune in for just the 15-20 minutes that it takes. Get updated. Another really great thing about your podcast is when you find Hands Off My Podcast, you'll notice that the album art for every episode is the person that you're talking about in the episode, the person who's missing.
Right.
If you've got your Apple CarPlay on, right? Like you see that big photo of this person, which is great. I travel a lot for work. That's when I listen. That's the time that you need to be seeing faces, right? When you're traveling around and
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's really great. And if guys, if you haven't, you can find Hands Off My Podcast anywhere.
Anywhere.
They're all over the place. Do you have a
Anywhere.
co-host, or is it, you said it was just you?
I am the host, but I have been gifted with the presence of having a researcher, a ghostwriter slash. Their name is MW, and it's so interesting how it's a full circles, because I'm just gonna do a spoiler alert. I just got done with last week speaking to a director of a award-winning documentary that just was released September of 2022, and it's a huge case. Like, it's going on a 40-year anniversary of Unsolved. MW actually worked with the guy who is a director, first-time director in doing his own film. And MW was just, he pretty much praised what they did for him in this film because they were on it. Like, he was asking questions about how to find this particular person, and they were on it within like a couple hours. They are just amazing, and I'm blessed to have them on my team. They don't like to do all the talking, and I know that on their podcast or YouTube channel, they are amazing, and I just wanted to give them props. I love love. If you want to share this with a loved one or share this with just a random person and say, hey, you got to check this out. This is very important information in regards to someone who is missing, someone who is murdered, someone who is actually focusing on our community. Even if it's something that you're not able to donate or provide some type of monetary support. I love 5 stars. I can't get enough of them. Also, am going to be starting up a merch shop. So that's in the works. If you are wanting to follow me, I actually do have my YouTube channel set up as effective of January 1st, and it's at Hands Off My Pod. And I do have a Patreon as well. So everything I do is I do it out of my compassion and my drive, my passion towards bringing awareness to people of color.
So guys, instead of binge watching that episode of The Office for the 9,000th time, you can invest that 22 minutes into Hands Off My Podcast.
Exactly.
Thank you so much again. I had an awesome, awesome time getting to know you, friend.
Yes, you as well, Ash. I am so glad. Thank you so much for having me on.
You have a very natural way about you in it, you know, like a serious reporter, but like I said, with a warmth to you that is very difficult to come by with these sensitive topics. So guys, if you want to hear about some missing people that are members of marginalized communities all across the country, let them know that you love it. Share it with all of your friends. Listen to the episode and enjoy. We're about to share one right now. So stay tuned and enjoy, guys. For Darkcast Network, this is Ash Midler. Stay creepy, y'all. Hey y'all, this is Ash from Creepytapas Podcast. There are a few places selling stickers these days, but I found a small business on Etsy called Snarky Sticker Lady, and I am in love with her stuff. We all love snark around here on the Darkcast Network. When I looked at the shop, I was surprised because she has some really funny stickers. The owner, Allison, knows that pride is not a sin, and she designed a line of stickers for friends of the LGBTQIA community. Allison has said of her own business, I love stickers. I love making stickers. I love putting stickers on everything. I started making stickers because I wanted some snarky, smart-ass stickers, and nobody had them. I need my sarcastic flag to fly, honey. So after making some snarky stickers, I started making lots of other types of stickers too. As a loyal friend to the LGBTQIA community, I wanted some stickers to show how I feel, so I made them. Ha! Maybe you'd like to show how you feel too. All sticker designs are welcome in my shop. Just send your ideas in. All of Allison's stickers are vinyl and laminated, so they are water resistant and will last a really long time. Check her out on Etsy at etsy.com/shop Snarky Sticker Lady. Hey, boop boo, I wanna get snarky with you, Snarky Sticker Lady on Etsy.
Hello, my name is Mallory Jenner Robinson. Join me in listening to A Hateful Homicide, a true crime podcast dedicated to telling the stories of the trans and gender non-binary communities. Tune in Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can find us on Apple Podcasts by typing in A Hateful Homicide, and you can also find us on Anchor and Spotify by typing in A Hateful Homicide. Follow us on IG at A Hateful Homicide, and you can follow me at Mallory Jenna 90. Again, tune in on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and I appreciate each and every one of you and your efforts to helping stop trans erasure and supporting all trans lives. Thank you.